I had to remind myself that I had to make videos. Hello, good morning. It's 7:13 and we are up and at 'em. I am working on I'm working on a lot of different things. Here's the agenda for the day. I need to get the email sent out for the journal challenge. I need to set up the outline for the shadow work presentation on generational inheritance, and then I need to work on some marketing stuff for me in general and get things set up for November, or at least get started working on stuff for November. I probably need to take a nap because I'm sleepy. And I need to edit the video for today's Vlogtober. And then what else do I need to do? I probably need to record a video, but I don't know if that's gonna happen today. We're heading into Scorpio season. Whoop, 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 whoop. Love that. Oh, I'm so tired. Yeah, so that's the plan so far. So let's get today started. I already ate breakfast because I was up kind of early and I'm so tired. I definitely will be taking a nap, but I'm gonna see what all I can get done. Let's do the journal first because that has to go out. And then I'll take a look at some astrology stuff. I need to work on my Venus intensive to go with my Mars intensive. Get the Mars intensive if you haven't already. It's going to be a great way to help you navigate this Mars retrograde. And you can also sign up for the Mars intensive workshop because it's going to be a great way to help you with the retrograde, because the retrograde's coming in strong, y'all. That Mars retrograde is already starting to hit us. So this is a great way to just work with that energy and be prepared. Yeah, that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna get to work and I'll probably check in at some point later on today. Bye.
Hi, okay, so continuing down this rabbit hole with the posters and the rooms, we have this Houdini poster, Master Mystifier, and this one was about how he did 3 variations of the buried alive stunt during his career. So that's what he was pretending to do, was like as a necromancer, bringing himself back to life after being buried alive. So he did 3 of these. He did one in 1950, and he almost died from it, where he was buried in a casket in a pit of earth 6 feet deep. Then he did one where it was supposed to be like an Egyptian imagery. And then he did one that, well, he was supposed to do one, but then he died before it was actually supposed to be performed. And he died on October 31st, which is very interesting. And this was supposed to be like his big showcase. Like this was going to be his huge one. And it was supposed to be more of an illusion, which I thought was interesting because that's a lot of what Wanda's magic that she would use the chaos magic for in the WandaVision was illusions and things like that. And so I just thought that was an interesting connection. But again, necromancy. So around this idea of bringing people back to life, bringing ourselves back to life, which I kind of also can see as like a form of personal transformation. So I just think that that's interesting. So let's get into, let me go see if I can find out more about that Wanda part in relation to the Miss Baldwin and the Witch of Endor. Hi, so I have fallen down a very slight rabbit hole looking at the posters that were in William's room and then Billy's room and Agatha all along. So looking at this one, this is Miss Baldwin, which you can see here. This is the actual poster of what it looks like. And this was a theatrical poster of a modern tale of the Witch of Endor. And the Witch of Endor is the woman in the Bible who raised the spirit of the prophet Samuel. And so there's a really cool article about that on Taylor and Francis online in the Folklore Volume 134, 2023, Issue 1. And it's free to read online. And it has a lot of really great information kind of about like the history of the witch, how this story has transformed over time, its relationship to folklore. And I just thought it was really, really interesting, but mainly the theme that seems to be going on with a lot of these posters is about necromancy and bringing people back to life, whether that is by request of someone or whether that is just like bringing yourself back to life, which we'll see in the Houdini one, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But the other thing that really caught my attention about the Woman of Endor or the Witch of Endor was the importance of this idea of a familiar, about having a woman who had, or a witch who had a familiar with her, who had spirits, or let me see if I, so after Samuel's death, Saul banished all those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. And yet on one fateful night on the eve of battle with the Philistines, he broke his own law by consulting such a person. And so now to enter to meet the woman as described in King James Bible, 1 Samuel 28, 5 through 25. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid and his heart greatly trembled. And let me go down. Then Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And so he goes and he asks her to go and bring back the spirit of Saul. And then she's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? You're Saul. And then she realizes that what she actually brings back is Samuel. So one, there's a little bit of like a trying to bring someone back, finding out that you didn't bring back the actual person because the person trying to bring someone back was not telling you the truth. And this made me think a lot about whether, like, who is the Witch of Endor? Is it Agatha, who's trying to bring back her son? Is it, and her familiar is actually the teen, is actually Billy, who's going to help her go about this process? Is it Wanda, which I have an interesting note about the Wanda, but is it Wanda who is like doing this work? Is it kind of all of them, because it's just like a amalgamation of a representation of witches over time and women and like the connection to divination? So like a lot about Lilia, because I think that's her name, about the being able to read fortunes and having connections to the other side. So like it was just a really interesting read. But continue with necromancy, which I'll get into in the next video. Okay, so last one really quickly. So if you look at Miss Baldwin and her poster, you'll find, if you scroll down a little bit, also the Wandas, goddess of mystery. So here's the information I found about that. This advertisement features two women performing magic. The Wandas sisters, or the Wandas trio, were a traveling family trio. Susie Wanda's Bennett's act incorporated cards, coins, ropes, thimbles, and canes. She began performing at age 8. She spoke 5 languages and she traveled all throughout Europe. She married a magician later in her career and moved to Detroit before she passed away. And then I found out just a little bit more about her, where they talked about what her original name was. She was in a theatrical family. She learned to perform magic, primarily coin and card manipulations, and was performing it as a part of the show, where she worked along with her brother and her mother, known as the Wanda's Trio, and later with her mother were billed as the Wanda's sisters. So I just thought it was really interesting, especially since it was like kind of goes honestly along with Wanda's story about starting as a trio with the family of the 3 of them, that, you know, her and her sons, and then eventually, I guess, because honestly I haven't seen the new I haven't seen the new Deadpool movie, but from what I've heard, that it continues forth with like Wanda and Billy and them doing their whole thing with her as the Scarlet Witch and him as Wiccan. So I just think that's kind of an interesting thing. Don't know if there's any actual connections with her, but I just thought that was fun and interesting to look at. So if you find out anything more about the Wandas, just let me know. I just think this is really interesting as far as like looking at where the storyline is going. And it's just fun. So y'all just have fun with it. Don't get into too wild into it or anything like that. But I would also like to give like a thumbs up to all of the folks who are working on the set at Agatha all along, because they are doing a really great job in putting like super cool information there.